Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another dispatch. World keeps moving quickly. Lots going on. Sort of extraordinary, the pace. But here we are. Sunny day. Another hot day here in Colorado. So I've got a few things here. Well, a couple things. There's a book that I want to read from, but I want to mention a book that a good friend mentioned this morning, actually, and it looks fabulous. And it is called, come here, Reclaiming Art in the Age of Artifice by J.F. Martel, who I think is a Canadian, if I got that right. Little book. Well, not that little. 212 pages. Just came out in May, and it says, the description, this is right. Great title. A compelling call to rediscover the transformative power of art in an age of distraction, coercion, and spectacle. Sound familiar? J.F. Martel offers a compelling and incisive meditation on the nature of art in a world dominated by invasive media, rampant consumer culture, and artificial intelligence. Oh, gosh, yeah. Goes on. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that. I just ordered a used copy. And speaking of that, I'm going to read from an essay on the work of Meir Appelfeld. Meir Appelfeld is a painter living in Jerusalem, an Israeli painter living in Jerusalem, and a dear friend. What is that called? Full disclaimer. And Dror Burstein wrote the essay, and it's great. He's really good. I need to change my glasses so I can read. So these kind of stay easier on my head more easily, but these I can see out of better when I'm reading. So there. Okay. So there's a lot in this essay. It's long, actually. It's not a short essay, but I'm not going to get to all of it, and maybe just the first part. But there's a lot in the second part too that I want. So there's actually, I think there's 4 parts. We'll see where we get to. Today, probably just the beginning, and I'll put some images in the PDF and email. Meir Appelfeld as a Chinese painter. Oh, I should also say he studied in London for about 10 years, if I got that right. So he's coming out of a European tradition of painting. Meir Appelfeld as a Chinese painter. I paint the imprint left in me by the view of nature. Meir Appelfeld, 2009. One should learn from nature and paint the image in one's mind. Zhang Zhao, 8th century. Introduction. No, Meir Appelfeld is not a Chinese painter. The words Chinese painter may serve as a metaphor for a certain painterly quality that seems to have been all but forgotten. Yet why use the term Chinese when speaking of an Israeli painter? Why wander to such distances? Perhaps because the immediate environment offers no good alternatives. Appelfeld occupies a unique position in the landscape of contemporary art and in his generation, as well as in the world of Israeli painting, so that this context does not offer a satisfactory background for examining his work. One could venture as far as Morandi, Brock, or Cezanne, only to discover that one has to go even further in order to place Appelfeld's paintings in a relevant context. And when you really think about it, China is not more distant from us than France or Italy. I am not speaking, of course, of aerial distance. This, then, is one answer. A second, more fundamental answer is that my acquaintance with models of writing and thinking about art in both the East and the West has led me to embrace certain definitions of art formulated in Japan and in China. I think about myself through the prism of Chinese thought. Why not think about Appelfeld through this same prism? This decision, however, is not based solely on matters of personal taste, but also on the fact that this is the cultural context in which I have found the most convincing connection between a large cosmological worldview and aesthetics. I do not find such a convincing connection between Christianity and Christian painting, for instance. This argument is obviously based on a belief in the universality of the spirit and on an attempt to go beyond the manifest stylistic appearance of artworks from different cultures without detracting from its value. Needless to say, I am not the first person to formulate such a stance. Got a footnote here. I don't know who it's to. I guess it's someone else who formulated such a stance. Should we see? Did I not waste the time? Curious. He's got a lot of footnotes. He's bringing in Alan Watts. That's got to be good. Well, he's bringing in Stephen Pepper. I'll read it. Oh, I know that book. Yeah. All right. I don't read. I looked again. Okay. Where are we? Sorry. I won't look at the I am using the term Chinese painting to refer to a collective artistic project that has evolved over the course of 3,000 years and which exists in a constant state of transformation. I am not referring here to contemporary Chinese painting, which is influenced by pop art, or to communist Chinese painting. My focus is the painterly tradition that reached one of its climaxes between the 10th and the 14th centuries, between the Song and the Yuan dynasties, more precisely between 1960 and 1368. Remarkable paintings existed in China even earlier, for instance, toward the end of the Tang dynasty, Tang period. Their creation has continued over the centuries and undoubtedly still continues today. This period was marked by the activity of artists such as Wang Zhimeng, Guo Xi, Fan Kuan, Ma Lin, Ma Yuan during the Song period, Zhao Mengfu, Zhao Fulei, and Zhu Derun during the Yuan period, to name only a few names. Although their paintings differ from one another in terms of their style, they share one important quality that serves as the basis for this comparison. Above all else, their subject matter, genre, technique, period of activity, they are all painters who give expression to the spirit of life. This spirit is described by Chinese painters using the term qi, a term that was first used in the context of painting in a treatise written in 490 and which is still used today, having passed through numerous stations along the way. An expression of qi, rather than of the beautiful, is the purpose of art making in China. The term qi is fundamental to Taoist philosophy, which is the most important spiritual climate for understanding Chinese painting, together with the philosophy of Confucius. The Tao may be defined as the all-creating force that moves clouds, makes grass and fingernails grow, controls the movement of the galaxies and causes water to flow. A force that is part of all things at every moment. This force cannot be described as God in the monotheistic sense because it does not exist in some metaphysical realm and is not possessed of a will that is distinct from its actions. That is, its actions are not preceded by decisions and do not change as a result of a change of mind. It acts of its own accord in a manner we may understand if we think of the way in which we grow our hair or breathe without consciously deciding to do so. This is more or less how the Tao creates all things. It cannot be defined because it encompasses everything and includes all existing categories. Some associate qi with the Tao itself. One could also argue that qi is an embodiment of the force of Tao in human and animal bodies, or in this context, in a work of art. Yet what does it mean to say that the secret of an artwork is its qi? George Rowley aptly answers this question. In China, he writes, the spirit of art was identified with the spirit of the universe. The underlying principle of Chinese painting, and in my opinion of all art in all times and places, which was defined as early as 490 AD, is summed up by four difficult to translate Chinese characters. Qi Yun, no. Yeah. Qi Yun, Sheng Dong. That's one of them, I guess. Or maybe there's four. We'll find out. Lin Yu Tang, person's name, provides no less than 7 translations for this combination. Oh, those are a combination of 4 Chinese characters. Got it. No less than 7 translations for this combination, and adds several additional translations of his own. One of them is spiritual tone and life movement, which Rowley translates as spirit resonance, life movement. This principle may be given expression in a range of artistic styles and may thus be said to combine Taoist and Confucian thought, since it refers both to the spontaneous expression of the spirit and to a right style. What is at stake here is not a contrast between spirit and matter, but rather their unity. This, just a little bit left here. Stay with me here. This idea of unity may easily be understood in the context of painting, in which the spirit may be said to suffuse the material medium. It does not hover below or above the oil or ink, but is rather embodied in them, so that each brushstroke may be perceived as a form of breathing matter. Or as Dan Daor and Yoav Ariel put it, the basic meaning of the character qi is vapor or breath. This is the matter of which all things are made. Yet in contrast to matter in Western philosophy, it is not inert, but rather involves movement. It does not obey the conservation principle, so that one may speak of a growth or reduction of qi. Some translations thus use terms such as energetic matter breath of life, vital force, and so forth. Although by doing so, they ignore one aspect or another of this term. Yet words are not truly important here, since they are incapable of describing this vital force. The test is simple enough. When you approach a work of art with full intention, if it contains qi, you will feel a sudden sense of joy, happiness, or perhaps elation, above and beyond the details studied below. Then Meir Appelfeld is a Chinese painter because his paintings are alive. They contain spirit, resonance, life movement. And this movement is transmitted to the viewer. Okay, I'm going to pause there. The next section is great too. But I'm going to pause. We will be back. I'm going to take these off. And yeah, who knows? Maybe by next week I'll have that used copy of that other book. More to read. Okay. Here we go. Take care. Keep making stuff. Be in touch. Bye.